18 students have joined. So I think we should start slowly as and when the rest of the students also join. Listen very carefully. Keep your notebook ready. I will give you some recap or reminder of the last lecture, what we learned. In the last lecture, we have finished the first part of the unit, that is the study of nutrition, and I have also given you a summary what we have learned and what you might have understood by learning the study of nutrition last time. After this, the second part of the unit that we will begin, and that is comparative study of excretory and osmoregulatory structures and their functions. Or simply, the title is Study of Excretion. Okay, study of excretion. So still students are joining. Okay, about 25 students have joined. I think it is enough. Some students will join if they wish to come, right? So we shall start the second part of the unit, that is study of nutrition. For that, I will share the screen. Before that, I would like to have a little interaction with you regarding this particular concept, that is study of excretion. So, can anybody tell me what is the definition of excretion? What is the definition of excretion? Aditi,
Excretion is collection, separation and elimination of nitrogenous waste material from body tissue in the
very good.
form of ammonia, urea and uric acid.
Excellent. I think last time I told you the same definition and she has written is she kept with her. It is a very nice uh, thing that you are updating your knowledge, your current information, what I have given you, you kept with you. Very good, Aditi. So I repeat the same definition, that is the collection, separation, and elimination of nitrogenous waste material from our body or from any other animal's body in the form of ammonia, urea, and uric acid. So,
Sir,
yes.
not Aditi. I am Harshika.
Okay, Harshika. I asked Aditi, but Harshika has given answer. Okay, I will take my words back, and it is given to Harshika. Okay, very good, Harshika. So this is the definition. This is nothing but the excretion. Uh, Now, regarding this terminology, uh, definition is okay. That is a collection of nitrogenous waste material and elimination of this. Along with that, is there any other component that is also excreted from our body apart from nitrogenous waste material? Okay, ammonia we throw, urea we throw outside, even uric acid. But along with that, water and carbon dioxide. Water and carbon dioxide are also primary excretory materials. These are primary products. So they are also thrown along with this excretory material by using excretory system in our body. So on the basis of excretion, some the animals are divided basically into two parts. Okay, and they have been divided into two parts. Some animals are osmoconformers. What is that? Osmoconformers. And some animals are having ability of osmoregulation. So osmoconformer and osmoregulator. These are the two different types of animals present in the world. And now how we can divide the animals as osmoconformers and osmoregulators. Now these animals are divided on the basis of their habitat, on the basis of what they eat, okay, and in which type of habitat they are living. That is more important. For example, some animals are aquatic, they are living in water. Some animals are terrestrial, they are living on the land. So they are having different mode of living system, or their habitat is different, and on that basis they have been divided as osmoconformer and osmo regulator. Okay, we shall discuss a little about osmoconformer and osmoregulator. Before that, I would like to share the screen so you can see some animals. Those we have chosen for their uh, excretory organs. What we are going to study. Let me share the screen. I hope you can see this screen. Can you see this? Mm, yes. Wait a minute. Can you see this slide? Amoeba, contractile vacuole.
Sir.
Very good. Okay. Now come back once again to that osmoconformer and osmoregulator. You just write down in your notebook osmoconformer. Okay, osmoconformer. What is it? The animals, those are osmoconformer. The animals, those are osmoconformer. The osmotic concentration of the body fluids, the osmotic concentration of the body fluids is equals to that of the medium, is equals to that of the medium or environment or environment. You write down second on the second line osmoregulator, osmoregulator. The animals that maintain its body fluids, the animals that maintains its body fluids at different osmotic concentrations, at different osmotic concentration from that of its environment, from that of its environment. So by writing these two small definitions, you will come to know that these are the two different terminologies possessed by different individuals. Means those animals are maintaining, they are the those animals are having equal osmotic concentration of their body in comparison with the environment in which they are living are osmoconformers. बरोबर आहे जे animals त्यांच्या बॉडीमध्ये असणारं जे त्यांचं ऑस्मॉटिक फ्लुइड आहे, बॉडी फ्लुइड आहे, त्याचं कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन आणि ते जिथं राहतात त्या एन्व्हायरमेंटमध्ये असणारे एन्व्हायरमेंटमध्ये असणारं जे काही मीडियम असेल, लिक्विड असेल, तिथं असणारे जे कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन आहे, आयोनिक कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन, इफ इट इज इक्वल, such animals are osmoconformers and they need not to maintain their internal body concentration or body fluid concentration. त्यांना गरज नाही आहे, ते आपोआप मेंटेन केली जाते. ठीक आहे. And what about osmoregulators? Osmoregulators are the animals, those have to maintain their internal uh, environment as far as the body fluid is concerned or osmotic concentration is concerned with the surrounding environment. म्हणजे त्यांना मेंटेन करावं लागतं आणि ते म्हणून ते असतात ऑस्मो रेग्युलेटर. आता ऑस्मो हा शब्द बऱ्याच वेळेला येतो. What do you mean by osmo? It is nothing but osmosis, and in that again there is a osmos word. The osmos is called as water. Osmos is water, and osmoregulator means control of water or water level in the body. Take for example of human being. We are come under osmoregulator condition, or in this part. We are osmoregulators. We have to maintain our body in fluids in comparison with the surrounding environment. सो आपल्याला रेग्युलेशन करावं लागतं, आपल्याला बॉडीमध्ये असणाऱ्या फ्लुइडचा कंट्रोल ठेवावा लागतो, की ज्या कंपॅरिझनमध्ये दुसरं एक ॲनिमल तुम्ही घ्या, दोज ॲनिमल्स आर प्रेझेंट इन द वॉटर, लिव्हिंग इन द वॉटर, they need not to maintain their body fluids and their concentration. They need not to have a control on it. Automatically होतो त्यांचा कंट्रोल. ते ऑस्मो कन्फर्मर्स आहेत. फॉर एक्झाम्पल अमिबा. You can see in the picture, amoeba is an osmoconformer. But again, which amoeba? The amoeba which is living in sea water. The amoeba which is living in sea water, they are osmoconformers. But if you put that amoeba into the fresh water, they need to develop certain structures to maintain the regulation of water, that we will see in this slide. Before that, again we will talk about some animals. We have taken example of human being. Okay, we have taken example of very small invertebrate, microscopic invertebrate, that is amoeba, that is okay. But some other animals, take for example of insects. Those are living, those are invertebrate, but still they are come under osmoregulator category. They are invertebrate, but they are living on the land. They are terrestrial creatures. As they are terrestrial creatures, they have to maintain their internal body fluid, or the osmotic concentration should be maintained. The water regulation should be maintained. For example, cockroach, spiders, scorpions, even some arthropods like housefly, ticks, mites, some centipedes, millipedes. There are several creatures, insects, they are living on the land and they have to maintain their internal body water level, and that's why they are come under osmoregulator part. Now what about human being? What we do, we take water through our mouth and we drink this water at regular interval. This water, we have to maintain that level of water in our body tissues constant, constant. But we lose water in some forms at regular interval. Like we sweat. When we sweat, when we sweat, the water is thrown outside through the skin. So there is a loss of water in this case. When we micturate, that means when we throw urine outside the body, at that time also we lose water from our body. So in this two concept, we are losing water, and for that, to maintain the level of water in the tissues back to normal, we have to drink water at regular interval. Otherwise, we have to eat such a kind of food material which contain water, which has a partially water. For example, fruits. Some fruits possess water, and that water is whenever we eat that fruits, we get water. So that maintenance of water level in the body is very important in case of human being. I am not going in details how exactly we are making the urine and all that. That will be the next part. It will we will study in detail later. But I have just given example of regulation of water, how that water is regulated. Now we shall discuss one by one about some animals uh, for their excretory organs. In the previous part, we learned some different nutritional apparatus, isn't it? Some nutritional apparatus for their for different organisms. And now we will discuss some excretory organs for some animals. We have seen food vacuole as a nutritional apparatus for amoeba. Now we shall see a contractile vacuole as a new excretory organ for amoeba. Everybody knows amoeba is a very small microscopic protozoan living in the water. Now it is living in fresh water as well as in marine water. But whenever it is in fresh water, it is someone is open their mic. Put your microphone off. Whenever amoeba is in fresh water, at that time it is developing the contractile vacuole as a excretory organ. We shall see how exactly this excretory organ is developed in the amoeba. See the diagram. I will zoom for you a little. Yes. Osmoregulation in amoeba. What this first diagram indicate? Water enters the amoeba by osmosis and collects in the contractile vacuole. As this animal is a unicellular, the whole body itself is a cell. It has a unit membrane present on the outer side. So this membrane is diffused or it is permeable for water present in the environment. In the environment, water is present, fresh water is present. This water can come inside by diffusing across this membrane into the protoplasm present inside the body of amoeba. Amoeba has two layers of protoplasm. The inner layer or the inner part of the protoplasm is endoplasm, while the outermost, which is very close to the membrane, that is called as ectoplasm. Okay, ectoplasm. Now this water has come inside into the endoplasm, and now it started to collect in the contractile vacuole. Where it is, this one is a contractile vacuole. Sorry, this one is a contractile vacuole. This one is a nucleus shown. This contractile vacuole at the beginning it is a small in structure. It is a very small unit membrane bound structure in which water is now getting collected. In the second diagram, you can see the contractile vacuole swells up. Contractile vacuole swells up. It becomes larger in size due to addition of more and more water as well as some nitrogenous waste material which is formed during the metabolism taken place inside the body of amoeba. That is also filled inside. So water and waste material is filling inside. So this contractile vacuole is swelling up. In the third diagram, you can see the contractile vacuole burst to release the water. As and when this contractile vacuole is filled at its maximum size, it goes to the ectoplasm area, very close to the membrane. It earlier in the first diagram, it is in the endoplasm, but now in the second diagram, it comes closer to the membrane, and now it attaches the membrane. And in the third diagram, you can see this is burst, futla to. Okay, contractile vacuole futla, and the content which is present inside is released outside the body of amoeba. This process starts all over again. आता हे फुटला की हे मेम्ब्रेन परत एकदा नॉर्मल होऊन जाईल त्या अमिबाचा, आणि परत एकदा ती प्रोसेस स्टार्ट व्हायला लागेल. म्हणजे बघा फोर्थ डायग्राम मध्ये तुम्हाला दिसतंय एक नवीन कॉन्ट्रॅक्टल व्हॅक्यूल अपियर झालेला आहे. Again it starts collecting water and waste material. Again it increase in the size and burst. This is a very simplified activity taken place in the amoeba. Very simple one. Now here is that's why it is called as osmoregulation. Water is regulated. Excessive water is regulated and thrown outside. Otherwise, think about this animal. If this water is continuously diffused inside the body, what will happen? If this contractile vacuole would have been absent, जर contractile vacuole absent असता तर ते पाणी सततच त्याच्या बॉडीमध्ये आत येत गेलं असतं आणि डिफ्युजन झालं असतं, पाणी आत येत राहिलं असतं. And of course, after some time, this amoeba will also get swollen. It will swells up, and the whole amoeba will be burst up, and amoeba may die due to non-availability of contractile vacuole or any other excretory organ. म्हणून पाण्याचं नियोजन कोण करतं इथं? कॉन्ट्रॅक्टाईल व्हॅक्यूल. फक्त पाण्याचं नाही तर वेस्ट मटेरियल जे तयार झालेले ते सुद्धा याच्याबरोबर बाहेर फेकून दिलं जातं. हे झालं फ्रेश वॉटर अमिबामध्ये. व्हॉट अबाउट सी वॉटर अमिबा? Because there is a one species also that is the sea water amoeba. This amoeba does not require to have osmoregulatory activity because it comes under osmoconformers. The concentration of water or concentration of the protoplasm present inside the amoeba body is the same as the concentration of the water, sea water. That's why water does not enter inside. Only the protoplasm is present inside, so there is no necessity of maintaining the water regulation or control in case of seawater amoeba or marine species of amoeba. That is all about the contractile vacuole developed in the amoeba, which is working as a excretory organ for amoeba. I hope you understood the concept of contractile vacuole, which is present in the amoeba. Let us see the next animal. The next animal is planaria. Next animal is a planaria. It is a flat animal, very flat animal, and it has a flame cells as an excretory organ. Flame cells as an excretory organ, little larger animal, belongs to phylum Platyhelminthes planaria. Earlier animal belongs to the phylum Protozoa. So little higher animal, but still it is an invertebrate, and it has developed an excretory system inside the body. You can see the animal, the whole animal here in this diagram, this one, and the other diagram which is enlarged part of the excretory organ, and that is the flame cell. This flame cell is also called as protonephridia. It is also called as protonephridia. I hope everybody is writing the small short points in your notebook, because I am not writing now today on the screen. Just go on writing the new words you will came across. Whatever new word come across, I will explain, and you can also write the meaning of it. So go on writing small points in your notebook. So whenever I will ask questions regarding that in the next lecture, so you must answer me, right? Okay. So what is the other name for flame cells? It is a protonephridia. Along with the protonephridia or flame cells, there is a connective tube is also a part of the excretory organ, that is called as excretory tubules. Excretory tubules, I will show in the diagram here. This is actually the flame cell, this one, and when this flame cell open into a canal, it is called as excretory canal, or you can also say excretory tubule. Now there are large number of bulb-like flame cells present along the excretory canals. Each flame cell is very large and gives out a numerous branched protoplasmic processes in the surroundings. These bulbous structures or the cells uh, are seen in the center of the cell. Hence, the cytoplasm is shifted at the periphery. If you see the structure very carefully, this is a large structure and a bulbous structure. Bulb-like structure is there. That's why it is a bulbous structure, which arises from the excretory canal in the form of initially a tube, but later on is developed into a bulbous structure. It internally has a nucleus which is shifted towards one side or shifted towards periphery. That is why it is also called as a eccentric nucleus, and in the center there is a presence of ciliated structures or thread-like structures are called as cilia. It also possess a fluid. Apart from that, nucleus is surrounded by the cytoplasm. So very less cytoplasm, a very small nucleus shifted towards one side, and there is a one structure developed. These are like thread-like structures or flagellated structure, hair-like structures. These are called as cilia, and which are arises from one end of this membrane, and they are open towards the other. Towards the other. Now these cilia beat continuously. They beat continuously to maintain a current for the fluid which is entering in the cavity. याच्यामध्ये जे फ्लुइड येतात ते फ्लुइड सतत हलवत ठेवलं जातं. त्यामुळे ह्या ज्या सिलिया असतात त्या सिलिया सतत बीट करत असतात. सो दे आर कंटिन्युअसली बीटिंग. बीटिंग म्हणजे जसं काही फ्लेम, जशी काही आपण बघा मेणबत्ती जेव्हा आपण लावतो, ती मेणबत्ती जेव्हा पेटते त्यावेळेला त्याची जी फ्लेम असते ती फ्लेम सतत हालत असते, कंटिन्युअसली बीट करत असते. तशाच पद्धतीनं ह्या सिलिया ज्या आहेत त्या सिलिया बीटिंग करत असतात, हालत असतात. कशासाठी? तर इथं आत येणारं जो फ्लुइड आहे ते फ्लुइडचा जो काही रिदम आहे तो रिदम मेंटेन करण्यासाठी किंवा त्या फ्लुइडला बाहेर पुढं इकडे ढकलण्यासाठी त्या सिलिया बीटिंग करत असतात. त्या कंटिन्युअसली बीट करत असतात म्हणून त्या फ्लेम सारख्या दिसतात. म्हणून त्या स्ट्रक्चर्सला, द टोटल स्ट्रक्चरला फ्लेम सेल्स असं म्हटलेलं आहे. या टोटल स्ट्रक्चरला फ्लेम सेल म्हटलेलं आहे. आणि ह्या फ्लेम्स ही थोडक्यात फ्लेम आहे आत, आणि ही कम्प्लीट सेल असल्यामुळं त्याला फ्लेम सेल असं म्हटलेलं आहे. तुम्ही ह्या डायग्राम मध्ये बघा, या डायग्राम मध्ये ती एक्झॅक्टली कुठं आहे, हे बघ, एक फ्लेम सेल इथं आहे, पुढची इकडे आहे, आणि ह्या कंटिन्युअसली फ्लेम सेल्स ह्या ऑर्गनाइज झालेल्या आहेत. ह्या सगळ्या फ्लेम सेल्स ऑर्गनाइज झालेल्या आहेत, आणि ह्या सगळ्या फ्लेम सेल्स दोन्ही बाजूला असतात. या साईडला सुद्धा ऑर्गनाइज्ड आहेत आणि बॉडीच्या दुसऱ्या साईडला पण ऑर्गनाइज्ड आहेत. नाउ दीज फ्लेम सेल्स ओपन इनटू एक्सक्रिटरी ट्यूब्यूल ऑर कॅनल. आता त्या काय करतात? आता ह्याच्या भोवती काय आहे? या सेलच्या भोवती काय आहे? ह्याच्या भोवती टिश्यूज आहेत, बॉडी टिश्यूज आहेत. आता हे बॉडी टिश्यूज मध्ये जे रेग्युलर मेटाबॉलिक प्रोसेसेस होत असतात, म्हणजे ॲनाबॉलिझम आहे, कॅटाबॉलिझम आहे, या प्रोसेसमध्ये कंटिन्युअसली प्रॉडक्ट्स तयार होत असतात, बाय प्रॉडक्ट्स तयार होत असतात. जे प्रॉडक्ट्स तयार होत असतात ते यूज केले जातात, ती बॉडी यूज करते ॲज अ एनर्जी. आणि मग बाय प्रॉडक्ट्स जे तयार होतात, दोज बाय प्रॉडक्ट्स आर एक्सक्रिटेड ॲज अ वेस्ट मटेरियल. एक वेस्ट मटेरियल म्हणून बाहेर फेकून दिले जातात. Through this cilia, the waste material is pushed out into the excretory canal. त्यामुळे इथं तयार होणारं जे वेस्ट आहे ते वेस्ट इथं या सेल्समध्ये डिफ्यूज केलं जातं, आत आणलं जातं, आणि ते जे वेस्ट आहे आणि पाणी आहे, एक्स्ट्रा वॉटर आहे, ते सगळं जे आहे ते याच्यातून बाहेर फेकलं जातं, एक्सक्रिटरी कॅनलमध्ये आणलं जातं. म्हणजे ते एक्सक्रिटरी कॅनल हे आहेत, आणि ह्या एक्सक्रिटरी कॅनल ह्या ह्या सेंट्रल कॅनलमध्ये ते सोडून देतात, अँड देन बॉडी थ्रोज इट आउटसाइड. हे बघा इथं लिहिलेलं आहे. ह्या फ्लेम सेल्स जे आहेत त्या फ्लेम सेल्स एक्सक्रिटरी पोअरमधून वेस्ट मटेरियल जे बाहेर फेकून देतात. सो दे आर working as a excretory organ. So what planaria have? Planaria have flame cells or protonephridia as an excretory organ in little higher animal compared with the amoeba. Amoeba मध्ये कुठला excretory organ होता? That was contractile vacuole. In the case of planaria, and the excretory organ is a flame cells. It is a flame cell. You must draw this diagram. In short, if you have not drawn, I will give you 1 minute to draw this diagram. This diagram is more than enough. This diagram you can draw it later by going through the Google. But here you draw this diagram so you will understand how exactly the process of excretion take place in case of planaria. I'll give you 1 minute. Draw it fast. This much only. Okay, if you have finished, we shall go for the third animal, which is having its excretory organ as the nephridia in case of earthworm. We have seen complete digestive system in case of nutritional apparatus, but now we shall see the excretory organ for earthworm, and that is nephridia. You can see the diagram of earthworm. This animal is a segmented animal. One, two, three, so many segments are there. We have studied in detail during its digestive system. Now, as in case of its excretory organ, except first three segments, except फर्स्ट थ्री सेगमेंट पहिले तीन सेगमेंट सोडून बाकीच्या खालच्या सगळ्या सेगमेंट्समध्ये ह्या नेफ्रिडिया प्रेझेंट असतात. And on the basis of the region, and their types are different. Okay, on the basis of their region, their types are different. See in the diagram, first one, fourth, fifth, and sixth segment. Sorry. In these three segments, the nephridia are present, and these nephridia are called as pharyngeal pharyngeal nephridia. Okay, these are pharyngeal nephridia as they are present near the area of pharynx. Near the area of pharynx, so named as pharyngeal nephridia. Let us go for the second part from 7th to almost 14th or 15th segment. The nephridia are present. They are called as integumentary nephridia. Integumentary nephridia because these nephridia are lying very close to the integument, that is very close to the skin or immediately below the skin. These nephridia are present, and they are very numerous one. They are very large in number, and they are present very close to the skin or below the skin, so they named integumentary nephridia. After 16th segment onwards, the septal nephridia are present throughout the body, and they are here arranged on each segment. They are arranged in a one line in each segment in this form. So every nephridial type has a different form, but perform the same function of excretion. So septal nephridia is the third type. I again repeat, pharyngeal nephridia, integumentary nephridia, and septal nephridia are the three different types of nephridia as an excretory organ present in the earthworm. See the diagram second, this one. In this diagram, I will just zoom for you. Yes, now you can see clearly. These are the septal nephridia arranged in the body of earthworm. See the arrangement. This is one nephridium. This is another nephridium. Third one. And all these are the nephridia arranged. All these nephridia are open. They are open in a common duct. In one this common duct. And then they open into the supraintestinal excretory ducts. Here it is, supraintestinal excretory ducts. So whatever the waste material they are collected from the nephridia, they are thrown or pour into the septal excretory canal. Septal excretory canal. And then it has taken its way directly into the supraintestinal excretory duct. which is then thrown outside through the skin or even into the digestive tract. Into the digestive tract. You can see the arrangement again. This is the diagram I have shown for showing the arrangement of the uh, septal nephridia. जसं मगाच्या प्लॅनेरियामध्ये फ्लेम सेल्स होत्या की ज्या वेस्ट मटेरियल ॲब्झॉर्ब करायच्या त्यांच्यामध्ये आणि त्या पुढं पोअर करायच्या, तसंच करतात ह्या सेप्टल नेफ्रिडिया सुद्धा वेस्ट मटेरियल ॲब्झॉर्ब करतात आणि त्या या कॅनलमध्ये म्हणजे सेप्टल एक्सक्रिटरी कॅनलमध्ये या कॅनलमध्ये ही जी कॉमन कॅनल आहे त्या कॉमन कॅनलमध्ये सगळ्याच्या सगळ्या सेप्टल नेफ्रिडिया त्यांचं जे काही वेस्ट मटेरियल आणि वॉटर आहे ते एक्सक्रीट करतं. देन दे टेक इट इन टू द सुप्रा इंटेस्टिनल एक्सक्रिटरी डक्ट विच इज फर्दर taken down into the intestine, into the digestive tract. Okay, then we shall see the lower diagram. We have only 2 to 3 minutes to finish this lecture because of meeting is finishing in 3 minutes. So get it covered this part. This is a single nephridium. This is the mouth, the neck region. Then this is the nephrostome, which is a funnel-shaped structure which is receiving this waste material inside, and then it is taken inside the part of the nephridia. Then it has a lobe which is well developed lobe at the beginning, that is called as the inner loop, then the straight loop. Inside there are ciliated tract, then nephridial tube, further a glandular syncytial mass, further part is a proximal limb or twisted loop. It go on twisting continuously from the proximal to distal limb, and this is the apical part, and finally it is opening as a terminal duct and it open into a common a septal canal which is thrown the waste material outside. We shall see this picture once again in the next lecture because we have to finish this lecture now only, otherwise meeting will get automatically closed. I hope you must have understood the three animals and their excretory organs for this lecture. I will come back to meeting. So what we have learned today, we have seen three different animals for their excretory organs. The one was amoeba, the other one was planaria, and third one is the earthworm. We shall see in the next lecture for the next animal as well as the septal nephridium structure again. Okay, bye. If you have any query or doubt, you can write your comments in the Google Classroom.